Hey, good evening. It's Friday, Friday the 13th, and welcome back to Everyday Talk 24/7. There's a lot of pressure this time of year to think culturally rather than biblically about what Christmas is. We talked last night about being free from the ideas of our culture and being able to give gifts from the heart that are not from the wallet, but from the heart. That may include something from the wallet, but it's got to be heart driven. How do we get back? How do we reclaim what the real meaning of Christmas is all about? Well, I have a thought tonight. Just one thing for you to consider. What if you considered that this Christmas is your last one? Now, we don't know that what our next day holds. It's in God's hands. Statistically, you probably will be here. But God's not governed by laws of statistics. If you get to be my age, uh, it's a little more of a question. Is this my last Christmas? Will I even make this Christmas? But if you're 30, 40, 50, 15, 5, 65, we don't know. But just suppose you considered that this Christmas would be your last Christmas. After all, those days are set by God. Psalm 139 tells us that the days are written down. They're in his book before one of them came to be. Jesus tells us not to worry about tomorrow. None of us can add a single hour to our life by worrying or fussing. So, we don't know if this is going to be our last Christmas. But if you did know, how would that impact the way that you go about the celebration of Christmas, the thoughts about Christmas, the types of gifts that you would buy, the types of things that you would be talking about this time of year? Would it be filled with all the cultural stressors? Or if we knew for certain that this was our last Christmas, what would we think about? We think about the things that we purchased and gave to others. They would be intentional. Maybe not the most expensive thing, but the most useful thing. And we would be a little clearer in our thinking that the relational gifts that we give, the gifts from the heart to the heart, would be the most valuable things that we can offer. We would be more focused on giving of ourselves, of investing, and less focused on the irritants that we bring to one another. Don't misunderstand me. You and I are irritating people. We can try all we want. Some of us are more irritating than others, but we all have this struggle with sin. Galatians 5 tells us about this war between the flesh and the spirit. And the flesh doesn't want the things that God wants. And the Spirit of God doesn't want the things that the flesh wants. So there's this real war within going on. If this were our last Christmas, things would become crystal clear. That person you argue with, that brother or sister or husband or wife that are so irritating to you, it would change things. Instead of being angry, instead of being frustrated, we might be thinking of ways that we could talk about the truth, about the wonders of Christ, and about the reality that life really is short, and that this world is not all that there is. If this were our last Christmas, those would be the kinds of things we'd be talking about. If this were our last Christmas, we would be thrilled to care. We would see the good in that person that we get so angry with. We wouldn't be disappointed if we didn't get the things that we thought we deserved. But rather, we'd be thinking, wow, one last opportunity to talk about the wonder of Christ, the true meaning of Christmas. This is how we can restore Christmas in our own lives. And if we could restore it in our lives, then that will be something that will radiate outwards. This is what Jesus is talking about in Matthew 5. Don't hide your light under a bushel basket. Rather, be consumed with the things of God. Let the light of Christ, the light of Christmas, shine through you. If this were our last Christmas, we wouldn't have any problem with that. We would want others to know the wonder, the joy of what it means to walk on this planet, knowing that I'm secure with Christ. And this holiday season would be about, in God's timing, I would go to be with him. I would see the true light, that Jesus, he's the true light of Christmas. As a matter of fact, when we get to heaven, he's the only light that we'll have and the only light that we'll need. It's mind-blowing. It really is. So how do we restore Christmas to the reality of things? Well, give this some thought. Not that I want to die by Christmas, not that I want any of you to die, but give it some serious thought. What if this were your last Christmas? How would this impact the way we spend our time, the way we spend our money, the thoughts of our heart? Would they be about how wrong everything is and how upset we are? Or would they be flooded with the joy of saying, I get to represent Christ one more day, one more time, one more Christmas? And that's the thought for this Friday the 13th, 12 days to Christmas. And this gives us a good segue into moving into the relational gifts that God wants us to give. But think about it. If you want to restore Christmas, think about, what if this is my last one? May God bless you this night. Thank you for being here, and Lord willing, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Good night.